Anthony Richardson, he has been one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL this year. He has a 3-6 touchdown interception ratio. He's completing 48.5% of his passes. And for any other quarterback, they would have already been benched no matter where they were drafted. But despite Joe Flacco being miles better than Anthony Richardson, the Colts still continue to throw this dude out there. And the Colts can't bench AR. All right. As much as Joe Flacco gives them the best chance to win, you are going to ruin Anthony Richardson's development if you don't allow him to get meaningful reps in the game. And I get really upset when people in the media and fans on social media come at Anthony Richardson. They say he sucks. He's not an NFL caliber QB, because it's funny how when you have a QB like Bryce Young that doesn't work out, people say, oh, what happened to giving these quarterbacks 3 to 4 years to develop? They don't play well for 17, 18 games, and they get thrown to the wolves. But then you got people that are saying that the Colts need to bench Anthony Richardson, although this dude has not really played that much, and the only way he's going to get better is by continuing to get more reps in these games. And the thing with Anthony Richardson when he was coming out of college is that everybody knew that he was going to be a project. We knew that it was going to take more than 1 year for this dude to turn into a good NFL quarterback. And with him missing the majority of his rookie season last year with that shoulder injury, it held back his development for at least 1 year. And I'm not surprised at how bad Anthony Richardson has looked this year, but it hasn't been like he hasn't had moments where he's flashed what he could be. He had a good game against the Houston Texans in week 1. And although Anthony Richardson has games where he goes 10 to 24 passing, he's one of those quarterbacks that, even though he may not complete a lot of passes during the game, the 3 or 4 passes that he does complete could be big plays that maybe could be big play, 1-play touchdowns for you. And the thing with Anthony Richardson is that if this dude is ever going to reach his potential, the Colts got to continue to roll with the growing pains, because Anthony Richardson is a really inconsistent player right now. From a week-to-week basis, you don't know if you're going to get good quarterback play out of him. That's what comes with starting a young quarterback. But you're going to ruin his development if you put him on the bench and you don't let him get meaningful reps. He didn't really play that many games in college. So you got a dude that is fairly unpolished at the quarterback position, and a dude that doesn't really understand the game as well as what he should, because he doesn't have a lot of experience. And you can't bench him at this point because you drafted him 3rd overall with the understanding that things were going to be rough. But you can still find ways to win with him with his athletic ability. Now, I know this dude is injury prone and he can't really sustain a lot of hits, but the dude's 255 pounds, running 4.43 at quarterback. You got to run him. And the Indianapolis Colts right now, they currently are in the spot where they are competing for a playoff spot. And your season isn't over. You're finding ways to win games with Anthony Richardson, even though it isn't always pretty. You got to roll with the punches. But for Colts fans to just start turning on this dude, acting like this dude only needed a few weeks of development and he was going to turn into Cam Newton, was a little bit naive. You see, the problem is that a lot of Colts fans heard what people in the media were saying about Anthony Richardson coming into this year, which is that he could have a 2015 Cam Newton kind of season. And that was unrealistic because he didn't play that much his rookie season. The dude needs more experience before he's able to play at a serviceable level. You're still going to get relatively up and down quarterback play out of this dude until you get to next season. And that's fine. This season was always going to be dedicated to Anthony Richardson's development. If the Colts don't make it to the playoffs this year, nobody's going to lose their job, because this is what the plan is. If you make it to the playoffs some way, somehow with Anthony Richardson, you overachieve this year. But this season is only about Anthony Richardson's development, because next year in 2025, it's the season that you expect Anthony Richardson to make that big jump. That's when you expect him to look like 2015 MVP Cam Newton. But he's only into the second year of his career, and he didn't play that much his rookie season. I'm trying to figure out, what the hell were you Colts fans expecting? You know, like, it's one thing if you drafted CJ Stroud or Bryce Young third overall, because you expected those guys to play at a higher level right out the gate. But Anthony Richardson, you already knew that it was going to take multiple years until this dude was able to develop into a really good quarterback. So I don't really understand why so many Colts fans now want to forget that Anthony Richardson was a huge project, and only a few games into his career, they just want to give up on him and they want to start Joe Flacco. No, it's going to take at least 2-3 years for Anthony Richardson to grow into the quarterback that Colts fans thought that he could be, or what the Colts franchise thought he could become. You're not going to see the returns of AR right away. And that's okay, because Shane Steichen is one of the better offensive minds in the NFL. I believe that he can develop Anthony Richardson, but it's not like this dude was getting a quarterback that was already NFL ready. Everybody knew that this was going to be a project. I don't get why Colts fans are so antsy about this when you already knew what this process was going to take when you drafted him. You can't say, all right, we've seen enough for the project. Joe Flacco's better. Just start him. No, like, you got to roll with the punches with this, man. That's the only way he's going to get better. You knew what this dude was coming out of Florida. You knew that his accuracy, his footwork, his decision-making, his ability to read defenses and understand coverages was a work in progress. So why is it that we get shocked when we see these games when Anthony Richardson goes 2-24 and he gets booed by the fans? Come on, man. Y'all understood what it was going to take for this dude to reach the next level. So why is it now that all of a sudden we want to forget about it and we want to bench Anthony Richardson? Come on, man. You Colts fans got to do better. You guys understood what you were getting in this kid when you drafted him. He's a young quarterback that still has a lot of things to learn with playing that position. It wasn't going to be one of those things where you draft him year one, he gets injured, missed the majority of his rookie season. Year two, he comes out slinging that football like Joe Burrow in his second season. You didn't get that kind of quarterback, man. You're getting somebody where it's going to require some patience, because it's going to take some time for him to look like what you thought he could when you drafted him third overall. And his potential is a more athletic version of Cam Newton. And the honest truth about Anthony Richardson is that even when he does reach his full potential, he still isn't going to be a fantastic thrower of the football. Like, Cam Newton, as good as what he was, he only completed over 60% of his passes only once or twice in his NFL career. He was never known for being a great thrower of the football. It's just that he was just such a monster at quarterback that he was just damn near unstoppable. And for Anthony Richardson, you hope that he can become a better version of what Cam Newton was. But you can't bench Anthony Richardson. You just can't. It's way too early into his career, and you already understood that it was going to be a lot of growing pains when you drafted him third overall. You knew that this wasn't going to be somebody that was just going to be an overnight fix. He wasn't going to be a Caleb Williams or a Jaden Daniels. Hell, most of us were surprised that he even was able to beat out Gardner Minshew for the starting job last year. So, listen, even if you missed the playoffs this year, it was never about you being a playoff team. This year was always about Anthony Richardson's development. And even if you make it to the playoffs, you're not going to win the Super Bowl. You don't have a Super Bowl caliber roster. So what's even the point? Why would you want to be a playoff team when you know your team has no chance to make a Super Bowl run? You're going to go to the playoffs, be a wild card round exit, and get a lower draft pick. I'm not saying that you should be okay with losing games all because of Anthony Richardson's development, but all I'm saying is that you knew the process and the time and the patience that it was going to require for Anthony Richardson to develop. And everybody was on board until they saw how good Joe Flacco looked. Come on, man. Like, y'all knew what it was with Anthony Richardson. There's no reason to be sounding the alarm. You knew that it was going to take at least 2 years to develop this dude. So give it until next season. And if we are having this same conversation about AR the same time next year in 2025, then you made a mistake and you drafted a bust. But the dude is a high character guy. Everybody loves him. No players really look severely frustrated with him at quarterback like they did with Bryce Young. So that shows you that guys in the locker room got confidence in Anthony Richardson, and he puts in a lot of work. I believe that Shane Steichen can turn AR into a really good quarterback, and I believe that he puts in the work to do so, man. I don't think there's a reason to bench Anthony Richardson right now because how he's playing right now is nothing that none of us seen coming. I tried to warn one of my homies in my fantasy football league, do not draft Anthony Richardson. He was going to be inconsistent this year. You know what the fool did? He drafted Anthony Richardson with his first round pick. I said, you idiot. You idiot. Why would you draft him in the first round? What are you talking about, man? This dude's going to be 2015 Cam Newton. The media gasses up these young quarterbacks, and when they struggle and they don't live up to these self-created expectations that people have, people want to call them a bust and they want to move on and bench them. No, we knew, at least the realistic fans of Anthony Richardson and you realistic Colts fans out there knew that it was going to take a year or two until this dude developed and reached his potential. It wasn't going to be a one-year fix.